Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. All right. So, first off, into D&D news. We don't really have any D&D news. Again, we are coming into the holidays. We just came off of a major release with Strixhaven. I don't think we're going to get anything before the end of the year, but we are looking forward to some really good releases in January. And actually, something that I forgot to talk about yesterday somehow. The Legend of Vox Machina is being released in January now instead of in February. It's being released a week earlier on January 28th on Amazon Prime. I totally forgot that yesterday. I don't know how I managed to forget that yesterday, but I did. So that's really the only news, really, that we've got going on. Yeah, just get excited for January and enjoy the holiday season. Then in terms of D&D streams, we also don't really have any streams coming up today because I imagine because we're right at the holidays again. So it's a good time to actually do a whole lot of what we're going to be talking about today and check out maybe some backlogs of games that you want to be watching, you haven't been able to watch, you haven't had the time to actually like get into or anything like that. I don't know why my camera is focused on the microphone instead of me. Hang on one second. There we go. Now I am in focus again. But be looking forward to all of that. Today is the last episode of Good Morning Adventurers for the 2021 calendar year. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this journey. This has been a lot of fun. I have done this for 14 weeks now, which is crazy to think about. I will be bringing back this show for a second season, if you can call it that, in February. So be looking forward to that if you enjoy the show. Obviously, I'm not going to let releases go by in January without talking about them, so expect to see a couple of things in January, but I won't be doing this every single day until we hit February again. And in a similar vein, I'm not leaving you guys high and dry there. We are going to be releasing my actual Play D&D show starting on the first Monday of January, January 3rd, and then every Monday until we're done with it. And then maybe we'll do something else after that. Who knows? We'll find out when we get there. In addition to that, I am going to be on Sidetracked, which is at Sidetracked RPG, pretty much everywhere. On YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok, on Instagram, Twitter, etc. Starting on January 11th. So be watching for that. I'm really excited about both of those projects. I think they're really, really awesome. And I can't wait to show you guys. They've been a lot of fun to work on so far. Moving on to TND today. Once again, it is holiday week. So we have today this Christmas sweater. I like this one a lot. It's one of my oldest ones that I've got. It's pretty simple. Honestly, it's pretty light, which is nice. I had to. I'm gonna have to go to work, and it's good that it's not heavy because I'm gonna have to move around a lot. So that's a good kind of thing. And then of course we have our cup full of cozy holiday themed mug. It's honestly maybe the least exciting that I've had this week so far, but it matches my sweater, which is nice, and it feels the most Christmassy to me, and that is the holiday that I celebrate. Inside of it, we have some salted caramel hot chocolate. I said yesterday that I think peppermint is the best. This is a very, very, very close second to me. I really, really love me some good caramel. Oh, yep, that's good. Okay, anyway, moving into what we are actually talking about today. We are talking about podcasts that you should listen to. D&D actual play podcasts that you should check out. There's going to be a lot of people traveling during the holiday season. A lot of people, as they get back into the swing of work, trying to find something to listen to, trying to find something to consume. Maybe your D&D game is going to be on hiatus because you are going to all be scattered around the country in different places because you have traveled to go be with family, or other people have traveled to go be with family, so you can't play because you won't have everybody there. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the best D&D podcasts, specifically, that you can listen to, in my opinion. The ones that I have listened to, at least in large part. I haven't finished necessarily all of these, but I am actively listening to several of them. And then some of them that are on my list that I'm really excited about listening to. And then a couple of them that have caught my eye that I didn't know about before that I'm going to add to the list to listen to as we get into that portion of, my listening schedule, I guess. And I'm doing podcasts specifically because I want to give you the opportunity to actually be able to listen to them if you are driving, if you are flying. You can't really watch YouTube videos or anything like that when you're on a plane or in a car. You shouldn't in a car. Definitely shouldn't unless you're not driving. But pretty much anybody with a smartphone can download a podcast and listen to it as you go. So let's talk a little bit about these, shall we? First up, we're gonna get a couple of the big ones out of the way. These are ones that I have listened to definitely all the way through. I love them. I think they're phenomenal. I highly recommend them. Obviously, we're gonna start top of the list. Kingpin, Critical Role. I mean, I don't really have to say a whole lot more about it. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of content in Critical Role, and they have up all of Campaign 1, all of Campaign 2, and a large majority of Campaign 3. Honestly, I think starting tomorrow, all of Campaign 3 that has been played so far will be up as well, which is phenomenal, really. Like, that's really, really good. So if you are behind, if you haven't listened to part of it, or if you're in the middle of something, download some of those episodes and listen to it. Honestly, it's not as good as being able to watch the show because so much of their vibe is like interacting at the table. But I highly recommend being able to consume it if you have seen it already, especially, or if you really want to power through some of it. I have been listening to it as I've been at work, if I've been working solo, and I've been able to push through a lot of Campaign 1. I wanted to get through a full Campaign 1 reconsume, rewatch, re-listen before Legend of Vox Machina comes out, and so I am in the high 90s now, which means I am right up at the end, pretty much. I am very excited to get to the end of it again, so I can have my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces once more. Moving on from Critical Role, that got weird really fast. I actually found out that Dimension 20 is on podcasting platforms in small portion. They have Fantasy High Season 1 and On Sleeping City Season 1 on podcast or in podcast format on podcasting platforms, which means that you can listen to essentially their two like flagship shows, the first season of each of them, on all podcasting platforms, which is fantastic. They're both also available on YouTube if you want to watch them and you are not, actively driving or something like that. I highly recommend Dimension 20. It is one that I've gotten into much more recently. I say much more recently. It's been like 6 months now, but I have watched literally all of the stuff that they've put out in their entirety. I have sung their praises on this show before. I think they're phenomenal. I think they have a really, really good setup. In stark contrast to Critical Role, they are fast-paced, like very, very fast-paced, very, very like roll with the punches, slapsticky kind of thing. They bounce off each other incredibly fast, incredibly well, and the story drives at a super fast pace while still paying a lot of like respect and time to the characters and the story that is going on. Highly recommend. Brendan Lee Mulligan is phenomenal. All of his players are masters of what they do. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet, or if you want to re-watch, re-listen. After Dimension 20, we're going to talk about the Adventure Zone. These are kind of like the big three, at least in my mind. I might be wrong, but the McElroy brothers and their dad with the Adventure Zone. I have listened to all of Arc 1 and a little bit of Arc, I think, 3 for some reason. They are all independent stories, as far as I am aware. I intend to listen to more of the arcs as we go forward here, but I am, again, currently knee-deep in it's actually more like chin-deep now, in a Season 1 Critical Role re-consume, so they are on the list, but not quite top of the list right now. But the Adventure Zone is phenomenal. It's so good. I listened to the entirety of Arc 1 without really realizing it. They come in hour-long chunks, which is the shortest of any of the ones that I've named so far, which is really awesome. And they are all available on podcasting platforms. I highly recommend it. They all learn how to play the game from the beginning. So if you start with Arc 1, you're getting to listen to them learn how to play the game, which is actually pretty cool. I really like it when you get to do that with different people on different podcasts. Or shows or whatever, that sort of thing. Like the fact that the beginning of Campaign 1 of Critical Role is them learning how to play D&D is actually pretty cool to me. I personally like that a lot because I really like new players and like getting to like see how they think about the game as they come into it. God, that's good. Okay, next up, we have Venture Maidens, which maybe not as many people know about. I didn't know about it until I stumbled across their Instagram, I think, one day. This was a little while ago now, but I have listened to not. Oh, how much of it did I listen to? I listened to the majority of their first arc, season, series, whatever you want to call it. And it was really good. It is an all either female or non-binary cast of players and DM. So if particularly if you are looking for that sort of accessibility, if you are sort of put off for one reason or another, which is totally fair, by the sheer amount of testosterone in some of these other shows, I totally get it. It was honestly a weird little sort of refresh that I didn't expect to enjoy quite so much. Obviously, I expected to enjoy the show, but I didn't expect for that aspect of it to be something that I was like, oh, this is really nice. So they were really, really great. They are phenomenal. They do great work. I actually backed their campaign book. Their like campaign module book, like kind of like the Taldori campaign guide thing, their setting book on Kickstarter when it happened, and I'm really excited to get that at some point so I can read a little bit more about the setting that they were in, because honestly, it's pretty cool. Moving on from Venture Maidens, we have, let's see, next on the list, Unprepared Casters. If you don't know what this is started by at Whipjack and at Gus the Bard, Haley Whipjack and Gus, I don't know Gus's last name, who are both people on D&D TikTok who are pretty big. They have started the show. It has done wildly well for them. A good friend of mine, has been on it. She loved her experience with it. I listened to her arc specifically so I could listen to her play in it. I sort of fit it in while I was listening to other things at the same time. Not simultaneously, like I fit it in so that I could hear her thing between in the middle of listening to something else. There we go. So I highly recommend it. They have a really good, pretty laid back, easygoing vibe to the whole thing, and it's a lot of fun, really. And that's really what it is. And they do it in like very short, small arcs, so it's really easy to just sort of consume an arc at a time. So if you listen to one and then go do something else and then come back, you're not missing any story by like, listening to them far apart, but they are also perfectly viable to just binge all the way through. You just have to get used to new characters after, oh god, how many is it, like 8 episodes in an arc or something like that? I don't remember. It's been a little while now. I actually have some of them downloaded for my long drive, so I'm excited about that one. And finally, on the list of ones that I have actually listened to, we have Dice Camera Action. This one is DM'd by Chris Perkins. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm pretty sure it's by Perkins. It was good. This is actually my first D&D show that I ever listened to. I listened to it right as I was getting into Critical Role for the first time as well. And actually getting into Critical Role is what knocked me off of Dice Camera Action. And I've just recently started to get back into it. And it's a fun sort of vibe. Their first one is Curse of Strahd. So if you're familiar with the story, it's a familiar story to get into, which is honestly kind of nice. All of the people I've talked about so far have a good like chemistry with their entire cast. And this one is no different. It is one that I'm enjoying being able to rediscover a little bit again. So moving on from the ones I've actually listened to ones that I am planning on listening to, we have, first up, High Rollers. I hear nothing but good things about this one. I'm really excited about it. It is, I don't know why I put it in, I wrote down a list here on this whiteboard of things that I wanted, or of the ones that I wanted to talk about. I don't know why I put High Rollers above the next one, because the next one is the one that is actually next on my list, but not the point. High Rollers, I hear nothing but good things about it. People reference them all the time for their critical rule, their house rule that they use for criticals. So I know all about that because I asked a question about critical hits at one point on TikTok, and I got 1,000 answers relating to that. It was more like 65, but it felt like 1,000. So I'm looking forward to getting into that at one point. The one that is actually on the top of my list is NADPOD. I'm really excited about this one. This one is Brian Murphy from Dimension 20, Emily Axford, his wife, and a couple of other people playing D&D, all in, they do it without maps, without minis, that sort of thing. Is all theater of the mind, so that even though they're at the same table, the people who are listening experience the same thing that they do. So I'm really excited about that one. I love Murph and Emily's dynamic. I love the way that they play the game, and so I'm really excited to get to hear them play it some more. Let's see. And then we have Dungeons and Daddies, which comes highly recommended from so many people. Um, I don't think I'm going to get to it this holiday season necessarily, but I will get into it in the new year when I'm working solo and I have time to listen to these things. So I'm really excited about getting to actually experience Dungeons and Daddies, so that Dungeons and Daddies, there we go, so that I actually know what people are talking about at some point here. Because from what I understand, it's hysterical. They have fantastic chemistry, and they are just literally just dads that play D&D, which I am all about. And then the next three are ones that caught my eye that I don't really know a whole lot about, but I am excited to explore more as soon as I get the chance to. And I don't really have any information on them other than the names, and they have good names. And so I am going to plug them right here, right now. The first one is Lawful Stupid. That's the name of the podcast, just Lawful Stupid, I think, a D&D podcast. Dames and Dragons, which I think has a similar vibe to Venture Maidens, in that it's a little bit more serious than your Dimension 20s of the world. A little less slapsticky, a little bit more like high adventure, and probably all female and non-binary as well, which is pretty cool. And then finally, Girls Who Don't D&D, which I think is just a great name. It tells you exactly what it is, and I'm really excited about that because I love, as I mentioned before, getting to hear new people play. I read the little description on their podcast thing. It is players who have never played before, a DM who owns all the books but has not read a single one of them, and a bunch of dice, and that's the game. And so I'm excited to see what it is that they actually do with that, because it sounds like a phenomenal concept to me. And that brings me to the end of my list of podcasts that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Hopefully this helps you in some capacity if you're looking for something to listen to on your venture home, venture to your parents, venture to your family, whatever it is, and then back as well. I hope that you guys get to consume some quality D&D content, or for your next trip. Just save this video or something and keep that in mind. If there are podcasts that I missed that you think I should be listening to, or that I should have talked about, please let me know in like the comments or whatever it is, because I am always looking for more of them, because I do this thing where I listen to all of it really, really fast, or I consume all of it really, really fast, and then I get to the end and then I go, oh wait, what do I do now? It's too soon to redo it again. So what should I do? So I'm always looking for more stuff. Please let me know if I miss something. That is everything that I have to talk to you guys about today. I'm just going to take a second here to try and express how massively thankful I am for everything that you guys have done for me in the course of this year. 2021 was crazy for a lot of people in a lot of ways, but at the end of it, for me, in terms of becoming a person on the internet, it has been awesome. I've really, really loved it. I've been afforded a lot of really great opportunities. I've been afforded a lot of really, really great people that I've gotten to connect with. And so I am incredibly appreciative of everything that anybody that's followed me, anybody that's subscribed, anybody that has supported me in any way has been able to give me in that way. And I wish that I hope that I am returning what you have put the expectation on me of, and I wish that I could express better exactly how thankful I am for all of that, because it means so much to me, and I cannot wait to see what 2022 has. Obviously, I'm going to be running one and in another D&D show, which I'm really excited about. In addition to doing more of this, there's a special project coming in the spring called the Clockwork Catalog, which is a bunch of TikTok creators compiling D&D magic items, subclasses, homebrew, that sort of thing, into a book that we're going to I kickstart, which I'm really excited about. I'm working as one of the members of like the core team for that, so definitely check that out when it comes out. And then we'll see what else comes up. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what doors open up that I don't already know about. In addition to the ones that I do already know about, because the ones I already know about, pretty dang cool. So anyway, once again, thank you so much. I genuinely could not have done this without you. And for that, I am eternally thankful. I cannot express enough how much I appreciate it. But that is everything that I have to talk to you guys about today and for the rest of this year. unless something crazy happens, and then I guess I'll talk to you guys about that when it happens. But thank you so very much for everything. Thank you so much for making me part of your morning routine. I appreciate it more than you could possibly know. And thank you so much, in particular, to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make this show and so much else possible. If you are interested in or able to become a patron, please check the link in the description of this video. I post homebrew content on there as well. I'm working on a little Christmas present for you guys, so definitely check that out when it comes out. It will be for patrons, but you can start for as little as $1. So even just to see what that's going to be. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and I will see you next year in February. Before that for a couple of things, but in full force back in February. So until then, keep on rolling.